Alrighty, ladies, gentlemen, anyone else in the chat? Welcome back to Chair League Season 3. And with me, as always, is my co-caster New Type with a nice scotch in hand.
Actually, today we've got Irish whiskey.
Irish whiskey? Tullamore?
No, we're going with the old classic, just a Jameson Irish whiskey. Just sort of a nice middle of the line. It's very sweet. It's so much sweeter than what I'm used to. Holy cow! But it is time. We've got a whole slew of matches in the lineup here tonight.
Oh, do we?
And we're starting off, leading off here with Infested Incorporated and El Boyos, a pair of very good Division 2 teams. Mm-hmm. Both teams won their way out of Division 3 last season, very high ranks, and are now carving it up in D2 here. Both teams 2-3, so right in the middle of the road, and they're looking to extend their wins and get into the black, get above 500 here tonight. And there's potential for at least for one team here tonight to do so.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So,
we have learned since these teams are on the ball and ready to go. Basically, we've learned that the map tonight is going to be Towers of Doom.
Alrighty.
We had a really exciting match last night on this map.
That was equal parts miserable and exciting.
I mean, that's the thing about this map. You never say die. Like there is no potential for a team wipe into a indefensible.
Yeah.
Core dive, right? So like
depending on the situation that the game's in, if your whole team wipes at 20, not like most other maps where that's just the end of the game. It's over. You're done. And the opposite can be said. In this, the opposite can be said. If you're way behind and you wipe the enemy team at 20, there's still some ways for them to claw back in. But yeah, we were on one hell of a map last night where I think at one point it was like 12-8 in our favor. Then it was 12-1 in our favor, and then it was 2-1 in their favor, I think.
No, in our favor. We still had the one.
Yep. And then we finally clinched it out with nothing left, which was miserable.
That was miserable. Let's put it. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
But let's see how the teams handle it here tonight. I mean, this is one of those maps where a very skilled Chromie can come into play and actually make things nightmarish for a team that can't really deal with her poke. Long range interrupts are going to be key on this map. To deal with the channels, to help secure the channels, interrupt the channels. Now, since I don't think we've had the pleasure of dealing with Infested Inc. yet, but we have casted El Boyos a couple times previously, and their team they're not afraid to pull out some pocket strats and pull off some interesting hijinks in any match. I have an idea, and I'm going to write it down right now. And we'll see if this actually comes about. Do I have a better pen?
Yeah.
So show up on screen here.
Well, let's just put it this way. The last time we casted El Boyos, no, that was 2 times ago. We've casted El Boyos. They won. They won in a very interesting way on Tomb of the Spider Queen, if I remember correctly. So this is not Tomb of the Spider Queen, but it's
Towers of Doom.
It is Towers of Doom, and it is. There's potential for this particular hero to be picked.
Yeah, the strategy that we're thinking of might be a thing here.
Okay. All right. Well,
so
people are actually going. So I might as well get this show on the road.
All right, so do we want to make sure all the teams are aware of the let's make sure we agree on Zarya, I don't know
Yeah.
if she's been picked up yet by Top Drafter. Last time we drafted, she had not. So let's make sure we get that squared away. Oh wow, it's a South American team.
Oh, really?
This is interesting. It looks like everyone on Infested Inc. is, or at least this is what they're claiming. Everyone on Infested Inc. is from South America. So welcome to Chair League. I guess they're in the right time zones. I guess it's just a matter of playing on the right, playing on the server and getting the ping all right.
I mean, the time zones you are absolutely correct on. Not to say, we have some issues with time zones. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I what region would you be in otherwise? I mean, you have North America, typically North America, Europe, Asia, Korea, and Asia, right?
And I think technically,
I guess
Australia and New Zealand is their own area. I hear people complain about it.
Oh, Oceania. I mean, I don't know if they have their own servers.
Maybe I'm just thinking of the scene. The scene gets called up. The ANZ scene gets called up consistently as having either connection issues or some other sort of issues. But I might be literally making things up right now. So,
well, if you say it with enough authority, people believe you.
This is truth. It is. All of my statements are chock full of truthiness. So, like, take everything I say with that understanding that I am. I deal in truthiness when it comes to Heroes of the Storm.
Okay.
And then when things go wrong, I just say there were misplays.
Yeah. So we're gonna get our stuff going here in a moment. Get the observer link out here. A little behind the scenes action going on.
But let me talk, if I can, real quick here about these past teams. El Boyos last week did fall to $5 fried rice. They played Artanis and Nazeebo on Infernal Shrine, so they went with an Artanis build to try and win that shrine fight with Li Ming. Infested Inc. last week, they did win, in fact, versus Bedroom Donkey. That match was not casted. I'm trying to find some more details on it, but it does look like a lot of the same folks who did compete last week are competing tonight here, so we should have a very similar sort of repeat performance. So it looks like the draft link has gone out. And teams are starting to mark that they are ready. So for those of you who are joining us, if you haven't had the chance to try this out yet, we do recommend it. Go to the Chair League website, find this match online there at the Chair League website, and give it a watch there. You get the opportunity to follow individual teams. You get notifications when they're having a match. You also can commend individual players. You get this star button that you can mark, or is it a heart?
It's a heart. Yeah.
It's a heart. Darn, I forgot. You get this heart button you can mark whenever you think someone's really strutting their stuff. And you can sort of have your own MVP system at the end of the match. So I'll be posting the link to the match in a second here, and we're about off to the races. So Infested Inc. as the home team gets the first pick and the first ban, and Towers of Doom, buddy. What are we thinking?
Falstad. I think that's still on the table.
I think Falstad, or potentially a very long-range poker. Now, we may see the meta heroes get banned. There's the Falstad ban. Good call. I mean, Zarya and Malf were tuned down recently. The long-term implications of this haven't quite been felt out yet, so those two heroes may be banned just out of comfort for the two teams. But El Boyos with the Zagara ban, leaving both of them up.
This is looking like pre-Zarya. Yeah, Falstad's Zagara are two very powerful heroes. Apologies for interrupting you there, but
it's all right.
But yeah, it just feels very back to status quo.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This is a draft from like 2 months ago.
Yep.
I'm getting deja vu.
But yeah, long range poke. I mean,
if someone can play Chromie on this map, Chromie is completely crazy on this map.
Yes.
We see Infested Inc. pick up Malfurion. Stitches is also unreal on this map. You see a lot of top tier players pick Stitches on this map because you're guaranteed to know exactly where your opponent is going to be at any given time during those shrine objectives.
We actually had a Murky played, an actual Murky, not Zarya Murky. An actual Murky played against us last night on this map, but to very good effect.
Yeah, it's very frustrating when someone keeps coming back and interrupting you with that at that shrine. See, Malfurion picked up by Infested INC. He's still so good. You can't ignore Malfurion.
No.
Li Ming picked up in response by El Boyos.
Yeah, Malfurion has a very safe W in order to interrupt. I mean, out of all of the other heroes, like you're paying attention to Malfurion, but he's expected to be close enough to the objective point typically during these fights to hit that W. So, Li Ming and Murden picked up. So Tank picked up in anticipation of some sort of melee, perhaps, or just an overall good hero. What do you think?
I think he's an overall good hero, and there may be some. The bans are still sort of out in the open. We see Tychus picked up very quickly by Infested INC. In response to that Muradin pickup, that's a very solid counter to Muradin. Tychus has been rolling very strong for the last couple of weeks. He's been at the top of many of the professional tier lists. And, I mean, he's got his own long range poke as well. His grenade is a very reliable interrupt tool. I mean, all of these heroes so far have them, and Chen is picked up by Infested INC. They are ready to go in. Chen is brutal when you're playing Li Ming.
Chen is such a bully. I mean, he jumps in, he kicks in rather. He kicks in, and he's just in the way constantly. Like everything you're doing, he's just pushing you around, using his size to just push you around, and it's really frustrating, frankly. So great hero coming out of a pick out of him, and a Kerrigan banned out. I think that's in response to the Malfurion, really. Because
you get the faster cooldowns, which on Kerrigan are absurd. By the way, if you get her innervated.
Well, honestly, Malfurion rooted. If you get rooted by Malfurion and there's a Kerrigan on the team, it's an instant combo. Like it's a guaranteed combo.
Brightwing is banned by Infested INC. The global heroes are basically off the table now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else you might be able to sneak by with. I mean, ETC has a lot of people have been playing ETC with Stage Dive, but he just doesn't. I don't think he fits with Muradin already on the table here.
Yeah.
El Boyos with their next picks, the good news is they've gotten their tank out of the way, so they don't have to worry about getting corralled into a tank pick. But with Brightwing down, that leaves them with Ariel. It leaves them with Morales. They could go really hard with.
Ariel would be a very risky pick right now with the Malfurion roots. I think they would probably shy away from that.
I think Chen can effectively really mess with a backline of Li Ming Ariel. He can dive in very quickly, very easily, and absolutely shred.
I'm thinking Karazim. What do you think? Or
I don't know.
Rhaegar.
I think their second damage is critical here. El Boyo's going deep into their time pool here with less than 20 seconds left. They've got to make a decision, and they go with Thrall and rip the dream. El Boyos in the past has gone Cho'Gall on numerous maps, even cheeky ones like Towers of Doom. So we were curious if they were going to go Cho'Gall, and it looks like that is not going to be the case here tonight. That Tychus pick absolutely spooked them, and if it was at all in their mind, they weren't going to pick it after Tychus. And Lily is picked up instead. We got dueling pandas here, dude.
Oh boy.
Place your bets. We have an underground endangered species fighting ring going on here. I don't know if we should be broadcasting this.
We got a lot of Warcraft heroes at this point. It just
we really do. Li Ming and Tychus have been feeling like just a little bit like lonely, like got no one else from our universe.
But the Lily pickup is interesting. I really feel like El Boyos is feeling a melee build or a melee comp coming out, like the last two being melee. And they're trying to build around it because the Muradin early pickup and the Lily for the blinds, just Lily is still good, period.
Well, they don't have a huge interrupt for Lily right now. They'd have to draft a really strong stunning interrupt to deal with cups if Lily does go for cups. And we'll have to see if Infested does draft into that with their last 2 picks here. See a
there it is.
Nubrak, so another very heavy
That's a stun.
bruiser style tank. Nubrak not as beefy, not as not as mitigation heavy as he used to be, but his mobility is unreal. He did take a hit after that nerf to his tunnel, making it no longer an invulnerability, but now just an unstoppable. And Kael'thas rounds out the composition for Infested Inc. So. They have a two tank composition with a lot of damage sustain and damage mitigation. Tychus, if he does decide to go Odin, has some resistance. Malfurion with the heal over time.
I don't think he's gonna go Odin.
You don't think so?
No, the Draken laser drill is too good of a interrupt. Like you stick,
Oh,
it's like a 6 person
Odin,
on the.
Yeah, but the Odin has so much range.
Yeah, but the objectives are so far apart. You're not gonna. If you pick Odin,
Perhaps.
the range isn't really helpful.
And Alarak picked last. Actually,
beautiful.
this is really good. If Chen is on the front line trying to drink, trying to keg, an Alarak silence will actually hinder him considerably. And the way you play Chen, you want to dive in with a kick, get some damage off, get some barrels, drink, and then once the heat. Once it gets too hot in the oven, you jump out. If Alarak is there and silences you when you want to make that kick out, you're not going anywhere, and then pandas become endangered again.
Yeah, they just got off the endangered species list.
This matchup is going to put them back on the endangered species list one way or another. So, from your gut, what are you thinking?
Well, Nubrak and Kael'thas are 2 very reliable interrupts for Lili's ult, just as an FYI. So those, that lack of interrupt for her ult is immediately negated right there. Nubrak is a great pick against Li Ming. His dampen magic is one of the best in the game against her.
I think Chen and Nubrak are going to be all over Li Ming this game.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be very difficult for that player to stay safe, stay out of harm's way. Muradin is going to have, Muradin is going to be dancing with Tychus throughout all the team fights. Tychus trying to get the damage in, Muradin trying to evade it. And, I feel like Boyos has the damage to deal with Malfurion and deal with his heals. But Nubrak has his own shielding. Chen has his own shielding. Tychus has mobility. Kael'thas is really the easiest sort of pick for Boyos to make. Well, he's going to be hard to get to.
So Infested is going more of a long game. They don't have a lot of damage. I mean, Nubrak and Chen are both bruiser-esque tanks, but KT and Tychus being the sole sources of damage. And against Thrall, Li Ming, Alarak, that's a lot of damage on the side of Boyos. So if Lili can sustain through the, if they can get enough jukes off between Tychus and Kael'thas, they may be able to pick these up, but we'll have to see. It's going to take a lot of positioning.
I'm worried about Tychus potentially taking the bigger they are, which will grossly power up his minigun against the Muradin and chunk Muradin very quickly. And I feel like if Muradin does not have quick, reliable heals, he can lose close to 60% of his HP bar in a handful of seconds. And that's hard for a Lili to top back off.
Absolutely.
That's one big concern that we're going to have to be aware of, that the Muradin player is going to have to be cautious of as this game goes on. If he takes too much damage too quickly, there's no way that Lili is going to be able to top that back off, short of expending her ultimate ability.
Yep, that is going to be the name of the game here, whether or not the 2-tank meta can beat out the standard 1 tank, 1 healer.
That Hero League draft. So, in the left-hand corner here, wearing the blue trunks, we've got Team Infested Inc. all the way from South America. We've got Malku on Tychus. We got Soul May Cry on Chen. We got Soul on Malfurion. We got Asmodeen on Kael'thas. And we got Sha'aria on Anubarak. And the right-hand side here, in the red trunks, we got El Boyos, we got Super Jova on the Thrall, Vendetto on Li Ming, we got Agonist on Lili, Airkey on Muradin, and Entropy on the Alarak.
All right, and we are looking forward to some esports in the mid here.
Oh, here we go. They're going to begin the esports. Look at them. They're so angry. They're so anxious.
Yep.
All right.
Checking that smoke. Continue.
Yep. All right.
So Alarak goes in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean they're dancing. They're looking for something, and it looks like the invitation to begin the esports was denied as both teams sort of go to their lanes. Chen is going to top lane to deal with Thrall, and that's where you want him to be. Chen's become one of the most prodigious lane bullies since his rework a few weeks back, and we're seeing Vendetto and Asmodin on the bot lane here, taking big chunks out of Vendetto there. He's gonna have to back up and tap quickly here.
Yeah, but Alarak is hiding, trying to see if they can pick somebody else.
He's so sneaky. Look at how mean he is. He's all like, "Oh, I'm in the bush. I'm John Delancey. Yeah, I've got a kitty cat face."
Oh, the silence though! Wow, the silence on Malfurion makes it so that he really has like 3 seconds of like sheer panic.
Seriously delayed, seriously delayed heal on himself. But both teams, you know, they're just looking to. Chen has lost connection, so we're gonna ask if we want to pause. Yeah, we're gonna pause. So while we wait for the Chen player to return to the game, we'll take a peek at the talents real quick here. And look at that. Oh man, look at the ability damage mitigation coming out of Infested INC. We're seeing Grounding Brew at level 1 out of the Chen, and we're seeing Dampen Magic at level 1 out of the Anubarak. So Alarak is going to be doing just minimal damage, and Li Ming completely neutered by these talent picks. It's going to be up to Thrall to do a ton of damage as the game progresses here. I would really like to see Thrall pick up Giant Killer at 13.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is perfect for a Giant Killer based build. You know, the 2-tank meta is prime fodder for Giant Killer. That talent was made for this. I mean, I actually predicted seeing Jimmy back into the meta. Sad to say I haven't seen it yet, but Tychus really showing off his ability to just do that percentage based damage recently.
And I actually like Astral Presence. I think Astral Presence is getting played more often on these maps with these channeled objectives where the fights start taking longer and longer and longer, and you start really burning out on mana. See block coming from Muradin here. I don't know if I agree with that just yet. I mean, there are a fair number of auto attacks from Infested INC, but Tychus attacks so quickly, those 2 charges of block are going to get sucked up in a second. And Third Wind is so good. Third Wind is so good at getting you healed up again after a long engagement. And we'll see if this block pays off in the long run here, but I feel like Third Wind is the talent to go with at level 1. Alright, so Soul May Cry has returned. He's going back to chugging along in the top lane. Cheers, mate. Let me join you. And
I'll take a drink too.
And we enter our first altar phase. So we've got guaranteed 3 spawns of altars and a heavy concentration in the bot lane of members of El Boyos. Entropy looking, again, sneaking in that bush. Oh, he's so sneaky with his kitty face. Catches Mauku, but also rooted by the Malfurion. Entropy very hurt. His guy gets topped off by Argonist. As the turns are real, a pick from Entropy onto the Tychus as Airkey comes down too. 90 hit points on Entropy as he slips out that slippery Porotos. More kill toss damage, 100 hit points. And he makes it out again. Unreal. And both members, Super Jova and Soul May Cry, capping the top towers. So this is going to be a rumble in the jungle down below in the south here.
Yeah, a lot of damage going out to Chen here, but Chen does manage to get out. Entropy is still in this fight, just like sustaining. Lili is able to heal through, but she is getting low on mana right now.
Yeah, and Anubarak is brought down. Chen is also subsequently brought down, and all 5 members of El Boyos are still in the fight. Mauku is there. Stormbolt potentially from Muradin could clean this up.
67 health! Oh my gosh!
And the telekinesis. Entropy, MVP of that fight, constantly sustaining himself through his lightning surges and through those Lily heals, keeping the fight rolling, keeping the kills coming, and locking down. Unreal.
Okay, there it is. I was gonna say, when is he going back? Is he ever going back? No.
Top-notch stuff there. Just living on the edge, securing almost a full level lead for El Boyos.
Is that the 30 Seconds to Mars song? On the Edge of Glory?
I'll take your word for it then. We see in the rhythm picked up by Tychus. You know, we were talking about, you know, what talents Tychus could potentially take here, and I think that was picked in instead of the bigger they are. It was, yes. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like you can chunk Muradin real easy with the bigger they are.
Well, maybe his target isn't Muradin. I mean, Muradin is on the front line, but he's easy to ignore. Well, not easy to ignore.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see. Does he have anything for Give Him the Axe at 16?
In terms of slows?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got
his own, but
Alarak could theoretically talent into a slow. You know,
and
Thrall's root is works. I mean, his W. I mean, it procs itself basically with, especially with Thunderburn. You're gonna get that consistently.
Good sneaky W into that bush there.
Mauku is caught again, and this is coming right as the altar spawns. This is almost a complete give for Infested INC. El Boyos in firm control of the map so far, grabbing their level 7 talents. We were seeing a full W build from Vendetto, looking for very long-range interrupts and pokes with Zay's Vengeance and Triumvirate at 7 and 4 respectively.
Yeah, Entropy is doing a great job on Alarak, just silencing whenever you know, they're in range, and he's actually hitting a lot of those skill shots. That's really impressive.
I mean, that's the key to being an effective Alarak, but Vendetto caught in the bottom here, getting absolutely shredded by Mauku. The revenge is in, and you know, Tychus, you know, he's I mean, for starters, he's happy to be out of that marine suit. It chafes a bit, but you know, a quick grab of the Merc camp by Entropy and Agonist. They haul out immediately before that invade does any more damage, and they do cap the Merc camp, but that's going to be cleaned up almost instantly by Infested INC. Pardon me.
Yeah, unfortunately, they just did not have the. It was a 3v4 that entire fight, and they just weren't able to sustain that. Sha'aria and Muradin dueling it out in mid here, but looks like Sola and Esmeden is going to pick up their own mercs in response.
So just one altar spawning right there, smack dab in the middle. That camp in the bot lane, I mean, they're going to have to address it at some point. Super Jova and Soul May Cry, both, you know, very, you know, they're stocked up. They're not going to have to be, but they're going to have to start heading down soon. As level 10 is right on the horizon for El Boyos, I don't think, unless Infested INC gets a pick right now, at this exact moment, they are going to have to probably give this up. This might be actually happening, and they get the pick on Alarak and potentially Lily as well. Agonist hauling out with the cups pop, but the damage is pouring in from the members of Infested INC.
Yeah, that was
key.
That was absolutely key. The catching Alarak out, you know, just stun locking him, frankly. That was really the way to counteract Lily's relatively slower heals. And
now they haven't capped yet, and level 10 is still not in their grasp, and all 5 members are back up. Airkey taking a lot of damage, and they're going to have to bail out. Super Jova getting tossed into the air, drops a Sundering, I guess as a salute to fallen homies, into the corner there, and that is it. The Infested INC capping that altar, and they're going to move now on to the Goblin Sappers, or the Pumpkin Sappers.
Yeah, very Halloween themed map here.
Vendetto is caught as well. Good night. That is all she wrote, but Entropy in for some revenge, catching Maoku and chunking him for a considerable amount of damage. No cigar though, as Infested INC, all 5 members still up, and they cap those Pumpkin Sappers.
Yep, so they're just going to clean up the Pumpkin Sappers here. It might do a little bit of damage on the wall there, yep. And but no damage onto the keep or fort, or same thing on this map, I guess.
Well,
Keep,
both
fort?
teams. I mean, this is evened out. We're only one altar, separating these two teams, and both teams are very close in terms of XP. We're seeing Infested Inc. really giving some attention to these merc camps. They've capped a number of them now. 4-man rotation to the mid-low, catching Sha'aria, and that bug is going to have to creep out as, as Anub'arak with a couple hundred hit points taps, and Malfurion's going to finish that off. Erky going in deep, misses the Storm Bolt though, so no catch on that Kael'thas, and that engagement is kind of dead on arrival, as both teams back up to deal with these two altars.
Yeah, that dampened magic really showing its stuff right here. Surviving both against the Alarak and the Li-Ming damage with only half of Anub'arak's health chunked. And that's very significant. I mean, when you're trying to eliminate... Oh, look at that.
I mean, it's nothing. It's tickling. It's, Anub'arak... Are you ticklish, Anub'arak? I can't tell. So, both teams capping their respective altars, looking to scrap a bit here. Cups is popped in mid. Both teams, a lot of ults are expended by Boyos. They have Thundering still, and they have Alarak's charge. But all 5 ults for Infested Inc. are going to be coming up shortly, and we have Cocoon, we have Odin, we have the Storm Wind and Fire, or Storm Earth and Fire, and we have Twilight Dream.
Oh, well, good call on the Odin. I really thought it was going to...
I feel like it's got an incredibly long range. It's got an extremely long range.
Aegonist here is going to get blown up, caught out on the rotation there. Unfortunately, there was a 4-man rotation down to the bot lane, and she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And Entropy's got to be feeling the heat right now, as this severely wounded fort has a big minion wave and pumpkin sappers marching down towards it. This fort is going to go down.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Entropy is just leaving. I mean, Erky comes in for a brief moment, but realizes that it's just a bad.
There's still 2 pumpkin sappers here. There's a lot going on potentially in this.
They have
in this lane. They have to defend this. Erky pushing forward, gets rooted, and the shred is on. Oh, and Twilight Dream is popped to secure the kill as well. As Tychus, everyone unloading the damage, and Erky with no response there. Avatar was not available to bail them out, and the root was keeping them in place. So is the swing happening? Infested Inc., they are commanding the board at the moment.
Yeah, this is really good timing for the altars to spawn for them. They are able to do a 4-on-5 for just a brief little 2 seconds, and then plus the time it takes for them to come back out here. So they're gonna have to take this very carefully. And Entropy doing a great job of just taking the safe one on the right here. But Asmodeus is feeling a little confident there.
And that extra range from Vendetta going to pay off here, but unfortunately they're chased off by Mauku and Sha'aria as Soul caps the middle altar. That is 10 shots. 10 shots?
Oh yeah, 10 shots. It's with that fort taken, it's this is where they start to catch up a little bit, and they actually are.
Yeah, Infested Inc. taking the lead for the first time in the game. Both teams dead even in terms of XP, but Infested Inc. has taken the better team fights, and they've gotten the structure damage that they need.
Yep. So they're trying to defend in mid a little bit, but they're gonna lose that fort, the keep wall, fort wall, whatever, those buildings.
They're not going to lose the whole kit and caboodle, though. However, Super Jova and Entropy very hurt. Sundering comes out to try and save him. Does not succeed. Sha'aria is brought down, though, and the Twilight Dream prevents Thrall from going in super ham. And, like we said, I mean, we're taking a quick peek again at the talents before we get to 16 here. I mean, we're seeing Giant Killer from the Thrall, Glass Cannon from the Li-Ming, very confident of keeping alive and dealing that damage, and healing static from the Muradin. So, when we hit level 16 here, depending on who hits it first, Anub'arak's going to be down for another 10 seconds now. And depending on what happens next, the very next team fight could determine the long-term effects of this game. Altars are up, and so is the tunnel to mid. A cocky player may decide to go that route, but it looks like they're both going to walk the slow route to the bot lanes.
And Anub'arak and Chen actually picked up both of their sustain talents Anubrak's Leech and Scarabs and Chen's Boulder Flavor at 7. And that's, I think, in anticipation of the Twilight Dream pick for Malfurion, because Malfurion with Twilight Dream loses a lot of his group
Yeah,
healing.
the extra heals are gone. Sha'aria almost chunked by Vendetto there. That long range W is amazing, but misses the Q, and that may spell disaster in the bot lane. It does. Vendetto missing the final skill shot does not prevent the bottom channel. Kael'Thas does make it out though, as the kills are just not rolling in for Vendetto to get the resets. Entropy goes down, and this may turn into a retreat for El Boyos. They're looking desperately for a kill here to set Vendetto. They want to let him off the hook, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Oh, and that web on the Lili ult.
Yeah, Lili's caught in cocoon. Root on air key. They have got to hustle out. This is a lost cause here, and they've got to lick their wounds and fight another day. There's no way they can take this now.
Yeah, Agonist is just not able to. Oh, nice juke on that though. Yeah, they have to give up that objective there, and bot keep is in danger now. Ooh. So Chen goes back into lane. They are on equal talent tiers at this point, but yeah, bottom fort looks like it's probably gonna go down as a result of the 4-man push at bottom here.
I mean, that bottom fort, it's always a linchpin on these maps. You've got the two goblin, I keep calling goblin sappers. You got the two pumpkin sappers in the bot lanes. You know, that's potentially 6 damage that could, make its way down that lane. And, it's just so grueling. Middle fort getting chunked considerably. Soul May Cry, he just don't care. He drinks, and don't follow Chen's example, kids. It's not a way to live.
Not very healthy. It makes you a bully. Makes you a big giant panda bully.
Big giant lame bully. You discriminate against people with green skin, although Super Joe was running the Thrall with red skin now. And it's not fun. Middle fort is going to go down here as Infested INC edging their way towards level 20. This is getting pretty dire for El Boyos here.
But this is the correct play to make as Infested INC. You really want to play, if you're gonna want to win this game, you want to play the safe game. You want to take down. You want to be ahead on forts. Each fort that you take is a time investment against the other team.
And this is the best case scenario for El Boyos. With just one altar, there's no way for them to lose the game right now. And if they win this team fight, they can really get back into it. Twilight Dream cuts off Alarak and Muradin, though, as Entropy and Airkey have to get topped off by Li Ming. Fake Sundering does help, though, but Muradin is webbed, and Entropy is brought down. This is bad. This is very bad. Super Jova also subsequently brought down, and the kills are going against El Boyos. Vendetto not getting the resets that they need, as Asmodee just laying into them with the damage so low. And that Odin, the range will not be denied, as 4 for 1 in favor of Infested INC.
Yeah, that was...
I mean, what can they do here? They can grab boss and they can win the game, actually.
Yeah.
And they're dangerously close to doing so. Vendetto, the only way for this to work right now is if Vendetto races to the bot lane, beats Tychus in a duel, or if Vendetto can bring this fort down, which I don't think is going to happen. I think this may actually just be it here, Sen.
Yeah, this might actually... Yeah, that's 4 and 6, right? That's it, yep. I don't think they can make it here with Vendetto in mid. The rest of the team wiped. That is the end of the game there.
So the anti-mage comp just turning El Boyos inside out here, with the Chen and the Anub'arak crushing the damage that El Boyos was hoping to inflict. That was a very, very nice draft from Infested INC. Kudos to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Great draft coming out of Infested INC to directly counter the Li Ming, the maybe unintentionally countering the Alarak, and Lili really wasn't able to heal up the rest of the team. I mean, between getting webbed,
I almost feel
Anub'arak,
like
yeah,
I almost feel like Ariel would have been a better pick. You have long range poke from Thrall and Li Ming. Like Vendetta was putting the damage out. 52,000 damage is nothing to sneer at.
Yeah.
Vendetta was putting the damage out, and you've got the AoE to help deal with the Kael'thas. You've got the Aegis to save someone who gets dived on by Chen in Anubarak. I feel like Lily just could not keep up with the damage that was being pumped out by Infested INC. And then when the dive happened, when the dive went in on her, it got out of control. And interrupting her ult, I didn't see very many, if any, interrupts on Cups. But
there were two. There were two.
There we go.
There were there was the one in the middle objective point, and then there was one on that last team fight that ended in a wipe. She had her Cups up, and Anubarak webbed her mid Cups, almost at the beginning actually of the Cups. And yeah, it was just it was very disappointing to see her get just nullified that way.
I mean, it was a smart pick, and they just shut her down. I mean, that was like the anti-Li Ming comp. Anubarak with the Beetles. They really went hard into Beetles, Legion of Beetles, Leeching Scarabs. They really went into spawning those Beetles and interrupting those Li Ming skill shots. And when you're banking on the W to be like the damage dealer for you, when you take Arcane Orbit, Zay's Vengeance, Triumvirate, when you haul that thing out and a Beetle is what interrupts it and a Beetle is what knocks it, brings it down, that is demoralizing. And that's a substantial amount of your damage that's just it's gone. It's
Anubarak is a great anti-Li Ming pick. If nothing else that you've seen from this particular match, Li Ming against Anubarak wins. In a team, of course.
And don't discount Chen. Chen was in the mix constantly, and that really, really helped nullify a lot of the damage. I really liked Entropy's play on Alarak. His early game, their early game was excellent. Once the damage mitigation and once the mobility started kicking in for Infested INC, it became increasingly more difficult for Alarak to get those picks.
Yeah.
But in the early game, Alarak was a demon.
Oh God, it was so much damage. I mean, it's just surviving against that entire team for the entirety of that objective.
That first objective, I think. No, it was the second one.
Was it? Yeah.
No, you're right. It was the first one because they got the two side ones on the top, and then everyone converged to bottom. You're right.
Yeah, and it was just very impressive to see the Lilies hold the team up at the early levels there. But once hens were picked up, basically she was a bit nullified there, being taken out of the battle for how many seconds, and her heals were not that strong to begin with, and just not being able to put out enough heals on the focus target just makes it really difficult to survive for very long. Yeah. So they did a really good job because Lily, the thing is, they didn't focus her. She wasn't the first target, and that's okay when you can Anubarak web her or cocoon her out of the battle. Take her out of the fight, then she's effectively chunked, and you're focusing all your damage on somebody else that cannot be healed up very quickly. So, a great play coming out of both teams. Great Giant Killer picked up for Super Jova, really committing a lot of the hero damage, committing to a lot of the hero damage.
So, what do you think? What did Infested INC do well that won them the match, and what can El Boyos do next to win their next match?
I think Lily was a little bit of a miss, comp miss. She was picked third, I believe, and had they saved either last pick or maybe, third and fourth was together, but had they saved her for last, I think that would have been a little bit better, because how do you counter Alarak, right?
With Chen and Anubarak.
So that those would have been.
He's got a lot of the bulk of his damage is ability damage, and that was where I was going to go. I really liked just how sticky Infested Inc. played. Their Chen, their Nubrak got them the kills. Tychus and Kael'thas following up with the damage. It was really, really good how they handled that all. Their whole team comp had a synergy to it. I feel like the last pick Alarak was really kind of questionable with all of the ability damage mitigation that was on hand from Infested Inc. I would have liked to see another giant killer potentially from El Boyos in their 5th slot there.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, Thrall's already a melee. You could have gone with a ranged, maybe like a Rainer, maybe. But I mean, the thing is, Nubrak and Chen were, Nubrak was last picked along with Kael'thas, and then Chen was second to last slot pick. Second to last round.
Yeah, but Alarak was the very last pick of the whole draft, and I feel like while Entropy was very good on Alarak in the early game, once more and more of the ability mitigation started rolling in, and once the HP pools got really high, the ability damage from Alarak just wasn't cutting it, and it just was not dealing with the 2 tanks on the front line.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and the deadly charge was done a few times, but it wasn't enough to do much. Like it didn't commit. It didn't take down any heroes. It didn't. Yeah, it's just a little disappointing to lose with a comp loss like that. But at the same time,
there we go. In your hero league, get 2 tanks or get 2 supports. 3 assassin, 1 support, 1 tank isn't always the optimal way to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, 2 tank meta is really in right now, so
2 supports in too.
Yeah,
a
2 supports.
A lot of people are going with 2 supports.
Yeah, I mean, Lili would work well with another support like Tassadar
or Tyrande. Can you imagine Tyrande on this team?
Well, I mean,
anyways,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break here. We have, I believe, Beards and Broads versus 85 DeLoreans next up.
In about half an hour, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I'll have to check my schedule here. But yeah, stay tuned. And don't forget to follow us if you liked our cast on twitch.tv/synthparadox, on the Chair League site, also Synth Paradox. And yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
Cheers.